Turn up the volume. Turn up the flavour. Wings, beers and sporting glory. Only at Winghouse. Welcome to Saturday League Kickoff.
Welcome to Saturday League Kickoff. Hope you had a great start of the weekend, and what a weekend of rugby league. Thursday night, Webby, it was AJ is on his way. Do you like what I've done there?
I don't get it.
Now, Vossi last night said, what did he say? He said the Miracle and Mudgee, which was perfect. And then there was the Mayhem in Melbourne after that. Two top build games as well between two opponents, four opponents, I should say, that could all win the competition this year. Or could they? So thank you for joining us, Webby. Were you excited as well I was last night?
I was exhausted by the end of it. I felt like I just watched two preliminary finals back to back.
Yeah.
It certainly had that smell of finals footy, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
I'm no doubt those four teams will be featuring prominently come the end of the season. They're both quality games of football, so go rugby league.
Didn't disappoint. Even when you lose sometimes.
You win.
Yeah, you win. Well said. Now, the Warriors can move closer to a top four, cementing a top four position this afternoon as well against the Gold Coast. And for Tigers fans who are going to go to Leichhardt on Sunday afternoon, the 20-year anniversary of their 2005 grand final win against the Cows. So, a lot of emotion involved across this weekend of rugby league. We're going to cover that, like we said, through Fox League and KO. If you're watching us, welcome through the viewers there also, simulcast live, and also our entire SEN listenership as well across the network. If you're listening via the SEN app, if you don't have the app, make sure you download it. If you're out on your walking the dog, you're on the beach, you're in the car, whatever it may be, very easy to listen each and every day. 24 hours of sport on both Fox League and also SEN as well. If you want to get involved in the show, you can. 0457 736 736 is the number. And if you want to give us a call, we love your phone calls. 1300 01 1170 is the open line number as well. Big show, of course, the review, the Friday night footy. We're going to get Frank Ponissi from the Melbourne Storm on. We're going to get the CEO, Donny Furner, on his way back from Mudgee on the phone as well to talk about both their victories and also their road into the finals. Now, the big news coming out of the Melbourne game was the sin binning and charge of Harry Grant. Now, if you haven't heard what the charge is, we're going to get to that with Frankie Ponissi very soon. There's a couple of options that he can take about whether he's going to be available for the remaining rounds or the upcoming finals. We're going to preview the weekend's matches as well. Some of the big news throughout the weekend is milestones, and you're going to touch on that very soon in your spotlight. So we've got Bent Hunt, of course, DCE, Craig Bellamy. There's some big news around Tino, Malawi, David Fifita as well, and also our Saturday spotlight, and we're going to get into that right now.
The Spotlight.
I was so excited I nearly dropped my...
Lucky we're not live.
Good.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Spotlight.
My spotlight. It is a dead set milestone-a-thon here in the NRL this weekend. Daly Cherry Evans and Bent Hunt both reaching 350 this weekend. Benny Hunt made his debut in 2009, DCE in 2011, and then next week, Craig Bellamy, 600 games as an NRL coach, which is a massive milestone in itself. He reaches that against the Roosters next Friday night at Amy Park. I think rugby league is starting to slowly get better at celebrating milestones. And, they are three really big marks in the game from three, very well-known and well-loved, sort of, in some ways, individuals in the game. So, well done to all those three individuals on reaching big milestones.
Yeah, well said. DC, I'm glad that his 350th is a milestone at home as well. So I hope everyone celebrates that as well. There'll be some disappointed people there, like passionate rugby league fans are, but he deserves to be celebrated as well. My spotlight is... Michael Shamus is reporting that Kelly Walters is set to have his request for Gordon Tallis to be part of his team in whatever capacity. That could be blocked. Now, I find it ridiculous that if you're the coach, you've been appointed the head coach, you can bring in your team if they bring if they're going to be an asset to the team for whatever it is. And Gordon Tallis would be an asset. He's a legend. 2, he's a great guy. 3, he's been involved in rugby league at the highest level, the elite level. He's gone on multiple tours. He's captained his country. I think he ticks a lot of boxes. Is it a fear that maybe there's too much of a Queensland angle?
I don't know.
What's behind
I think it's no, I don't. I also contained in little Cham Cham's, as I call him, story. About Kevin Walters having to use Super League based coaches as assistant coaches. I can't really believe that, it's... I would have thought that the national coach gets to pick his assistants.
Yeah.
Whether it's a cost-cutting measure by not aiming to fly them business class over, I don't know. But, the same with Gordon Tallis, the cultural attaché.
Yep.
If you're the Australian coach, within reason, you should be able to appoint your support staff.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we get into our special guest, and this is about the Raiders' big win against the Panthers. Shout out to my son Nate and his Springfield Panthers under-9s team playing halftime today at the Titans v Warriors game. The boys are super excited. Matty from Ipswich. Yeah, well done, Matty. Hope you Nate, have a great day at Seabus Super Stadium at the moment. We are going to get Donny Ferner on the phone very soon. Now, he is in between Mudgee and Canberra, which sometimes he can drop out of the phone call. So when he gets we get hold of him, we're going to get him on the line.
Call him, Donny.
The Raiders 20
phone
points
home, Don Ferner,
to 16 up against the Panthers. And they were down 16-6. And ended up going on to win in Golden Point, as we know. So much to play out in this game. We could probably talk about this one game for the first hour of the show because there was so much involved, wasn't there?
What happened?
I know.
What about the end of it?
Yeah.
It was a quality game of football for a start, put on for the good people of Mudgee. I'm sort of still a bit surprised that Canberra won it. It looked like that Nathan Cleary was going to nail a field goal there at some point late in the game and in Golden Point, but couldn't ice it off the post, and they spin it wide. And Heath, I've got to say this, and don't be offended, Heath, that is a dreadful haircut. It is a really bad haircut that Heath Strange has. But I'll tell you what.
Strange.
Yeah.
Ethan Strange.
Ethan Strange. Sorry, not Heath Strange. God. I can't even say your name. Ethan Strange.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Heath Lestrange.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ethan Strange.
Yeah.
Dreadful haircut, but what a player.
It's like KO Weeks. They all got that mullet at the moment.
It's that mullet thing,
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I know. You might be a little bit envious as well. But anyway.
Oh, yeah, I'm offended as someone who's follically changed.
Let's listen to the coach, Ricky Stewart, and what he had to say after the match.
Oh, we've got character. Without Dan playing the win, I don't think we were that good tonight. I thought our attack was at times patchy, and it was probably more of a gritty, tough win than anything else.
Yeah, it was tough and gritty because to be down 16-6, the concerning thing for the Panthers is great work by the Raiders just to continue staying in the game. They seem to play their best when they're behind. It just, for some reason, it kicks them back into gear again. But in saying that, also, it's what's concerning for the Panthers is giving up leads when they've been so good at closing games out like they do. But also uncharacteristic errors by key players at key times of the field.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I thought Canberra had the best of it. I was worried that they weren't going to get back into the game. I thought they had the best of it late in the first half. And, when Xavier Savage dropped that ball with the line pretty much wide open, it was going to be, I thought it would be... I thought this isn't their night.
Yep.
But the way that they hung in there and then, still managed to get the win in the end was pretty special.
Yeah, exactly. I thought the telling moment was when Ricky Stewart, and this is the art of coaching, is being able to identify the rhythm of the match, the momentum of the match, and whether the game's getting away from you, and then you've got to make changes, and then you can't burn your players too long or make your changes too late. But he put Tarpany and Papali'i on. I think it was about 22 minutes to go. All of a sudden, you saw the Raiders, you saw the team lift to another level. And then Simi Sasungi scored because Xavier Savage had to leave because of that shoulder injury. Simi Sasungi scores on the left-hand side. And then the kick chase after that set straight after the try, that said the Raiders they were back on. And,
Absolutely.
And so I thought Papali'i and Tarpany coming back on was probably the real telling moment for the Raiders.
God, he's a good player, Tarpany.
I think
he is incredible.
Yeah, we talk
He'd
about
almost be he's up there with Haas as the best.
Well, we talk about Haas and we talk about James Fisher-Harris and Mitch Barnett when he was playing as the best front rowers in the game, and because he's tucked away down in Canberra, we sometimes forget that he's down there. And how good he's been and how loyal he's been to the club as well over a number of years.
That's right.
He's next
and there's
level.
some talk that he was going to get out a few years ago, and just I think the way that his relationship with Ricky, you can see just how what you can tell. I reckon Sats, you'd probably know this. You'd know this better than me. They're such a tight team.
Yep.
Don't they just look like a super tight team?
Yep.
And that's the way that Ricky coaches. that was their first top 8 team that they've played since June.
Yeah.
And so it's a really important match for me about whether, just to see where Canberra were at, and like, tell me they can't win the comp after that game. They're not just regular season, front runners. They're up to this premiership in their eyeball.
You don't lead their eyeballs. You don't lead the competition. Doesn't matter whether you're playing top 8 teams or not. You don't lead the competition for the length they have, and not believe that you can win the comp.
I know. But my point is, I wanted to see him against a top 4 team or a premiership contender. At this stage of the season, and like they rose to the occasion.
The 3 times they've now come off byes. The first time I think they played the West Tigers. They end up winning, but it was a tough, gritty win. Then the next bye they came off and they played Parramatta. Started atrociously, ended up coming home quite convincingly and winning easy down in Canberra. Then against Panthers last night, coming off a bye. Sometimes I don't think that's ideal playing against a team like the Panthers off a bye, and the Panthers are wounded from being beaten in Golden Point the week before. Again, they sort of got out of the blocks okay, but they didn't hit their rhythm until sort of 20 or 25 minutes to go. And so that's a concern for Rick, the way that the team has been starting. No more buys now, then they can just get into the rhythm. How good were the Raiders getting young Ruben, a.k.a. Book Week Kid, into the sheds after the game to sing the song? Now, Scotty G, you make a good point here. So for those who didn't see it on social media, there was a school at Mudgee, they did Book Week, and there was a heap of kids dressed in Panthers jerseys, and so a kid turned up in another costume, but then as he walked past the Panthers players, he unzipped it and took it off, and he was in a Canberra Raiders jersey, and so it was a great run into this game for the people of Mudgee. Nearly 10,000 people at the game, but they got that kid in his costume with his Raiders jersey on in the dressing sheds after the game, and he was there as the team sang the team song. And Scotty G, you make a really good point, because I was just saying to you before we went on air, in the background you can see Ricky Stewart just leaning against the fence singing and laughing. He's got his arm around Ethan Strange,
otherwise known as Heath.
Known as Heath. His alter ego is Heath when he's on the drink with his mates.
It might be what I was doing when I wrote those notes during the game last night.
He had his arm around Ethan Strange, and you talk about this tight-knit unit. It always looks tight after you win, but you got a coach in the background, his arm around a player, most notably saying, "Hey, thank you for getting us out."
Yeah.
But also just this connection he's got with the players. Hey, big shout out also to Jed Stewart. We're talking about KO weeks.
Oh, yeah.
And we talk about Ethan Strange, but Jed Stewart is the man that jumped for the ball, was able to draw the play, get it across Ethan Strange, and Strange still had plenty to do. So, and on the other side of that, Liam Martin, he'll be waking up this morning lamenting that, why didn't I wrap my arms around Jed when he went up to the ball after it's bounced, which you're allowed to do. You're allowed to challenge the catcher of a ball after the ball has bounced.
That's it. He did have a fair game, old Liam Martin.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Very strong.
One of the big reasons why, if they won, that Liam Martin had a huge play in that. Now, the big reason, and they're winning, and I think a big fear for a lot of teams is you sometimes, whatever the rules are in the game, you can slow the ruck down, get players involved, and 3 players in a tackle, 1 taking the legs out of someone else. You have the ability to play the rules the way the game is put before all the players, and win games and win comps. The unorthodox style of Canberra sort of goes against the style of most teams, which is frustrating to play against, because Corey Horsburgh sort of runs across field as a front row, then he'll get an offload and he'll break the defence. Then you got Tarpany gets an late offload as well. You get Hudson Young gets a late offload. They've got this unorthodox style that just stifles the way that a lot of teams want to play.
So you tell me, as the ex-player, I felt, from my point of view, I felt like Canberra played very conservative in the first half.
Yeah, they did.
It wasn't Canberra. I know they were grinding it out, and they're coming off the bye, and that's you got to play to your opponent. But I thought when they started to use the ball, they were far more dangerous. When they start shifting it, particularly on either side of the ruck, that's when they look like Penrith really struggled to hold them.
I agree with you. Like when they try to go Hudson sort of, what they do is they work the ball to what when you're coaching against the side, they work it. They identify a threat, they work the ball to the threat, and then they flood the threat. And I think they do it better than most teams. Penrith do it really well, where they flood the threat all
What do you
the
mean by
time.
the threat? You mean
So
where there's a weakness in the defensive line,
yeah,
or
so
a player that you can...
If there's a player on the opposite side and they see that halfback as a threat, they'll move the ball to a point where they can identify Hudson Young to get one-on-one with that player, and everyone's going to flood off him. Like, there'll be KO Weeks on the inside, there'll be a centre on the outside, and if he doesn't get an offload, he gets a quick play of the ball. KO Weeks is just hovering around there somewhere to use his speed.
So they really seem to me to be going after Nathan last night. Look, he missed a couple of tackles there, Nathan, and I think Ethan Strange, he got around him a few times, which I thought was telling.
Yeah, just get the key playmakers to do as much work as possible. Yeah. So with our good friends from Temper, and we would have loved to get Donny Ferner on, but as we said, he's in parts of the regional areas where the phone keeps dropping out. We always talk about the player that would have slept well last night from our good friends at Temper for a great night's sleep. So we're going to vote it. So from that game last night, Canberra versus Penrith, who's the player that would have slept well last night?
It's on me, is it?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to have to say, you're going to have to say Strange, aren't you?
Ethan Strange.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
not just because I bagged his haircut and got his name wrong, but just because he had a fantastic game of footy last night.
Turned 21 last week.
Incredible.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And Ricky has said he's seen comparisons in attack and defence to Laurie Daly. Pretty much the same style of play.
Yeah, it's a fair rap. But I, as we've said on this show before, I love that Ricky has said, if you're going to play at this level and excel at this level, you're going to have to wear that pressure.
He's the best defensive 5'8" in the competition with his technique as well. So well done his dad, John Strange, for the way that I think he used to tackle the dog consistently growing up. I think he used to use the dog, I think from memory, a story about that was his, and his sister Jasmine as well. So
fantastic!
So they've had good coaching all the way through as kids as well. Up next on Saturday League Kickoff, we're going to review last night's game between the Storm and the Bulldogs, an absolute thriller as well. As the Storm, they march towards a top 2 finish at the end of the regular season. Plenty to talk about with that game when it comes to Harry Grant. Well, their head of football, the director of rugby league, Frank Ponissi, is going to join us next. 57736 is our text number. If you want to give us a call, 1300 01 1170 as well. The Reptile says, "G'day Shaggers, can you stop saying Heath, please? I'm in the gym and you're freaking me out because that's my real name." And also, we spoke about the young boy that went into the dressing sheds dressed in the Canberra jersey from the book week. And Michael says, "Boys, the Mudgee School, that's what you're discussing. Isaiah Yo's dad, Justin, is the principal.
Oh, right.
Hence all the supporters." Thank you very much. And Tomo says, the miracle of Mudgee was the Mickey call from Vossi. Let's get stuck into the second game last night because it was an absolute belter. Storm, 20 points to 14 over the top of the Bulldogs. And, it looked like we were going to go to Golden Point again there at one stage. 5 straight wins for the Storm as well. And before we get to our very special guest, Frankie Ponissi, one of the greatest men in rugby league, let's get Craig Bellamy after the game.
I was real happy with our first half. I thought played real well the first half. Played a real controlled game and sort of stuck to what we wanted to do and how we wanted to do it. So I thought our second half was lacked discipline. We give away a couple of penalties. Rubbing blokes on the head and hitting them after they'd passed the ball like that. That's you're not going to get away with that.
Yeah, so it's typical Craig Bellamy because there are little parts of the game that he wants improved, especially when you're moving into the finals. And a man that plays a big role with the results each and every week is their head of footy, their director of rugby league, Frankie Ponissi, who's on the line. How are you, Frankie?
I'm good, thanks, Sats. Yourself?
I'm going very well. Another big crowd, mate, and another grinding win, as we just hear from Craig, and we see the result last night. So overall, heading into the finals, you yourself, are you happy where the team is tracking?
Yeah, we are, Sats. I think it's perfect preparation, these games. Last week's game against Penrith went to Golden Point, but besides going to Golden Point, it was a high-intense, high-quality game, and last night was exactly the same. They're the type of games you need going into finals. We've got another one coming next week against the Roosters, so I think from a preparation point of view, and the fact we're also winning, and probably the most important thing defensively is probably our strongest part of our game going into the finals. We're very pleased, but there's still a bit of work to do over the next few weeks before we worry about finals.
Frankie, I might as well just ask you this one straight up. Harry Grant, or as he's named on the charge sheet, Harrison Grant, 2 matches with an early plea on the shoulder charge. Any idea how you guys will plead?
Yeah, look, we obviously expected a charge this morning, Webby. We were expecting a grade 1, either a shoulder charge or a dangerous contact. So a grade 2 shoulder charge did take us by surprise, I'll be honest. It's something now we're going to have to consider over the next 48 hours before we enter a plea. I think under normal circumstances, it would be a very strong case to fight it from a downgrade at a very minimum. But the fact that the risk of a third game, which will go into the first week of the finals, is a big risk that we've really got to consider.
Yeah, hey Frank, on the back of that as well, to look at it from a positive point of view, he's played a lot of rugby league when it comes through Origin, Harry, and you come out of Origin and a lot of the players can get really tired at key points of the season. So there's a positive that comes out of it. If you do take the guilty plea and it's 2 weeks, that 2 weeks could actually work in your favour, just freshening his legs up.
Oh, there's no doubt about that, Sats. And after winning last night and wrapping up a top 2 spot or more, more than likely wrap up the top 2 spot, there would have been plans to rest Harry. There's no doubt about it. It just would have been nice for us to control it. That's rather than the other way around. But yeah, it's right. You turn a negative into a positive, and certainly that's something we've got to consider. But as I said, if the third game going to judiciary and losing is a very, very high risk. So we'll weigh up everything over the next 48 hours and consider that.
Frank, I thought Bellyache's comments after the game were to sum up the Melbourne Storm to a T. He talked about the head pat, which has lit up social media about the game going soft. But Craig Bellamy, he doesn't see it that way. He says that's a lack of discipline. Does that just show like the standards that he sets for your football team?
It does, Webby. There's no doubt about it. And look, I can understand a lot of people talking about it. It was a harsh penalty, but at the end of the day, all we ask that it's consistent going forward now. I don't mind if that type of thing is removed out of the game, but let's do it for everyone, not just pick our times that we do it. But I think where Craig's coming from is, regardless whether we think it's a harsh decision or not, in big games they're going to be key moments that we can control. And I think that's probably where he was getting it. Take that decision out of the referee's hands is probably where he's going, and don't put ourselves in that situation.
Hey Frankie, for the history of the Melbourne Storm in 1998, they've always been built on signing the character of an athlete, and the club has been built on the players of the like of Pepe Marquette back in the late 90s, and then
God, there's a blast.
Matty Rua, Dallas Johnson, Ryan Hinchcliffe, Josh King. I look at your number 13, Trent Leero, who just goes about his business, has state of origin experience now, and just shows to me again last night how important and how much of a key to this side he is leading into the finals.
Oh, it is, Sats. His development over the last 2 years has been outstanding, and a credit to Craig and all our assistant coaches. Done a wonderful job, and it's also a great example of just staying patient with a player. I mean, he's come through. He came to the club straight out of school from our Sunshine Coast Falcons feeder arrangement. He was in COVID. He didn't play much. He made his debut. And then he played on the edge the first year after Kenny Bromwich went to the Dolphins. And we probably realised that he wasn't an edge player. His best position is in the middle. And ever since he's been moved to the middle, just the development in him as a player and his importance in the team has been really crucial. But I think it's a great example just to stay patient with the player, because there were times there that he probably wasn't fulfilling his potential, but the coaches stayed patient. Now he's fully deserves his origin spot, and he's one of our best players.
Another player that's really benefited since Origin is Stefano Tukumanu. Tell us about
Kirby,
him.
the baby elephant.
That's the baby elephant, apparently. Yeah. Tell us about his progression, Frank. He's playing great footy at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I think along with Harry and Xavier Cates, I think Steph's been our best player over the last since the Origin, to be honest, and I think probably Origin. He was solid without being brilliant. I think would be fair. He'd be the first to say that, Webby. But that experience of being in Origin for 3 camps, being involved in 2 games, being around the quality of the players, he's just an example where players just benefit so much from being in Origin. And he's just, he's gone on another level since Origin. And, he's one of our key weapons going into the final. So, yeah, I'm glad he's playing now because he's worked hard at his game all year and he's now starting to reap the rewards.
Hey, Frank, can you give us a bit of an insight into Melbourne's preparation when you lead into the finals? The intensity of training, or do you let the games bring the intensity to your preparation? I mean, do you ramp up the intensity of training as you lead into the finals, or do you start to go into a block now where you start to really wind down a little bit more?
Yeah, a bit of both. There's no doubt about it. We probably try to sharpen everything. We don't want to change things too much because I think your preparation has got to have that routine and that week in, week out. So that's important. But probably it's very much individually based now. Who needs a recovery? Some players will be pulled out of training. They'll train less. Some will train more. We've got a couple of players now coming back from injuries, and in the next few weeks as well, they'll need a little bit more. So it's a real player-by-player case on where they are. But certainly from the focus point of view, the emphasis is really sharpen your focus and be as focused as you can over the next 6 weeks.
Frankie, big week next week with Craig Bellamy celebrating 600 matches. The Melbourne Storm celebrate a milestone probably better than anyone, and I can't even remember the last time you guys would have lost a milestone game. You've been with him for a long time, Frank. Give us an insight into what makes Craig so successful and just how he's probably evolved from what was your first season with him?
2008, so got here at the end of 2007, Webby.
Right, how much has he changed since then, if at all?
Without sounding, he's changed, but he's also stayed the same. He's kept the DNA of what makes him, the coach he is. His beliefs and his high standards, that hasn't changed from the day I got here at the end of 2007. He's probably evolved in terms of some coaching methods and how to do things. Work ethics haven't changed. Your intensity hasn't changed. It's probably how you go about doing things. And he's probably a little bit more understanding of the younger players now than he probably was. He'd be the first to say it in his early years. He certainly hasn't lost his fire. I think anyone that sat in the box with him last night would testify that he's the fire in the belly is as strong as it ever is. And just his obsession with high standards and everything you do, whether it's at training and on game day, he's just not just satisfied just with near your best. He wants to get the best, do your best you can. So yeah, he has evolved definitely as a coach, but he hasn't lost that DNA of what makes him Craig Bellamy.
Most importantly, Frankie, tell us what he does for downtime. Like, do you get a phone call sometimes and say, "Hey, Frank, grab the clubs. We're going to have you hit 18 holes"?
No, he's not like that. But having said that, and then that is one area he probably has changed over the years. His ability to switch off between games, between training sessions, between seasons has certainly improved enormously from his early days. I think the biggest change in his life is his grandkids, and I think he generally enjoys spending time with them, and that they've been ever since they've been on the scene. There has been a massive change in him in that way in his downtime. So that's probably what he does the most, is just spending time with his grandkids. He loves the musical, he loves his music, and he loves to exercise. So yeah, that hasn't changed either. But I must say, he has to. The intensity that he coaches at, he wouldn't survive it unless he could have those downtimes.
He's great on the bass, I heard. Craig Bellamy.
He's a Springsteen guy.
Yeah, he is too. He is.
He is. He loves the Australian music, so he's got a wide range of music taste, I must say.
Now, Jerome Hughes, heard during commentary last night, someone made comment that there's a possibility, a distinct possibility that he could be back by the last round 27. How's he tracking?
Tracking really well, Sats. There's no doubt about it. I mean, the plan has always been week one of the finals, and that hasn't changed. If over the next few weeks he was to even get better, and given now that we're in a good position and he was able to play a short period in that last game against the Broncos, that would be looked at. But, given his value to the team, we wouldn't be risking. If we think that would benefit him having half a game or even less against the Broncos, that will certainly be considered. But we'll see how he goes over the next 7 days before we make that decision. But he's a slight chance against the Broncos, but at the moment, week one of the finals is what we're tracking it.
Nice, yeah. Will Warbrick, Nelson Asafa-Solomona, Jack Howarth, Suafea Longo, all still to be made available. Another one also, Frank, is Jonah Pezzett. Showed great maturity that late try for Xavier Coates last night. And he's in a position, I suppose, when you're at full strength in 2026, that whether he plays a bench role or whether he's just sort of continuing to develop. But You guys have done really well with your depth players, and in the past you've loaned out Harry Grant to the West Tigers, which was for the future of the club. Is Jonah the sort of kid after re-signing that you would potentially look at that in 2026 if a position of that or was made to the club, that you allow him to mature playing first grade at another club?
Yes, I think the credit has to be given to Jonah himself. His patience and his understanding of learning the game and not rushing. He could have left without any doubt at the end of last year or the year before even, but he decided to stay. He believed that being around the players that we've mentioned, the Harry Grants, the Cameron Munsters, and Ryan Pappenhausen and so on, he's only going to be better for the experience. So it was a big decision in to stay, and knowing that you've got Jerome Hughes in front of him and Cameron Munster, so it was a big, and even Tyron Wisher. So fantastic attitude by Jonah. He's a classic case of the old saying, he's an old head on young shoulders. From the moment he came in straight out of school, incredibly intelligent rugby league player. He knows how to direct the team. He's got a terrific kicking game. It was just the physicality of his game that needed work, and he was coming along really well before he suffered that ACL injury. And his attitude to recovery last year was fantastic, and now he's really, we're seeing the player that we all knew he was going to be. So, over the next few weeks now, especially with the potential of Harry not being there for the next 2 weeks, he could feature really important for us in going into the finals. What the future looks like, not too sure, but he's now a player that's ready to play at NRL. There's no doubt about that.
And wears his socks down like his dad, Troy, as well, which I keep reminding his dad about. Hey,
I'm old enough to remember his dad, so there are definitely some similarities there.
Roosters and Broncos to finish off the season. Well done last night, Frank, for that very impressive win against a top four opponent that you're probably no doubt going to face in the finals again. Hey, thank you very much on this Saturday morning, Frank, for joining us.
Thanks, Sats. Thanks, Webby.
He's a good man. He's a really good man, and whatever you're getting from Frank Ponissi is also the mindset of the coach as well. The good part about their club, the great part about their club, and again, I'll use the word that I like to use all the time in rugby league. They've just got this perfect alignment from the top all the way down through the rugby league department.
They always talk about the great, coaching combination of Jack Gibson and Ron Massey. That one between Frank Ponissi and Craig Bellamy's got to be way up there. Yeah,
absolutely. And Cole, Will Warbrick, back doing contact as well, expected to play some Queensland Cup really soon, as well as Nelson Asafa-Solomona, Jack Howell, Suafa'alonga. Where they all fit in, I don't know, but it's a great position for the Melbourne Storm to be in, and it's quite imposing for the opposition as well when you've got that much depth coming back before the finals. This is Saturday League Kickoff. You want to get involved, 1300 01 1170 is the open line. Give us a call. We want to hear your opinion about anything in rugby league. We've got plenty more to talk about as well. Get to more of your texts. Don't go anywhere. Well, a timely text message coming through on 0457 736 736 because we are going to talk about some of the milestones across this weekend. But before that, we also want to talk about the teams last night who are in the top five who didn't get the victory last night and where they're at. And we get a text here from 851 saying, how do you guys rate the Doggies' premiership hopes on the last night's performance against a heavyweight like the Storm? Oh, it's Kel from Lithgow. He's also saying loving your black shirt.
No worries, Kel.
Looking good, Webby. Back in black.
It's very slimming, isn't it?
So that's what we want to talk about. So thank you very much, Kel. Great part of the world, Lithgow as well. What's the most common NRL former player or current player that's come from Lithgow, Kel? Can you please let us know? Where do we hold the Bulldogies after last night? There was a concern when Matty Burton went down with that knee injury. We thought, wow, this is going to have a huge impact on their season. But to his credit, he got back up. He got back into the line. Fired off a couple of really big, challenging attacking kicks as well. So he looks like he'll be okay, which is great news for Doggies fans. But the Doggies, where are they?
Oh, I think I was actually impressed with them.
So am I.
The way they came back.
Yep.
I've actually been in contact just via text with Cameron Serralo this morning, who said that Burton is in doubt for next week.
It looked ugly. It looked ugly, didn't it?
After hyperextending his knee, he also injured his back when he was hit by Kamitha.
Yep. I thought that was play on.
Yeah, I don't think Canterbury did.
Yeah.
I thought a few 50-50s went against him, like the try, the no try at the end for Stephen Crichton from Seve was
So I look at, is that the one in the in goal where he presses the ball down?
Yeah. Like the Canterbury are arguing that he was interfered with.
Yep.
And given the scrutiny that's on defenders in those situations this year, like, is that not a penalty at the very least? It's one of those 50-50s in rugby league that that can go either way, as most 50-50s do. But I thought they were disjointed at some points in their attack, but they made 10 line breaks to 3.
Yep.
And if I'm a Canterbury supporter, I'm feeling okay about my team's chances late in the season.
I thought when they played the Villiamy using that big size and the speed of him, that's when they started really to worry the Melbourne Storm last night. I thought they were really good. The Stephen Crichton try at the end, it's no try based on the rules.
On the re-grip
You got to re-grip the ball. So he would have had to re-grip the ball under and then turn it, and which...
Do you agree with that?
Oh, well, the rules, I don't agree with the rules.
Do you think that should be the rule?
No, I don't.
If he can get it and put it down...
If you can cleanly push the ball down, doesn't matter whether you've juggled it, and as it's on its way down, you've pushed it like that, I think that's a try every day of the week. Yeah.
I agree. When did that change?
I don't know.
I lose track
Stormy
of
Daniel, you'll know.
I lose track of the interpretations.
Yeah, so, but in saying that, Stephen Crichton's goal kicking was off last night. He's usually a beautiful striker of the ball. Missed a couple of goals, crucial goals. That one goal that still put them 8 points behind. It just... What it does to as a player when you're back there waiting for the kickoff after scoring a try, and you've got a goal kicker that's usually really precise with his goal kicking, high percentage, and they miss it, and you look up at the scoreboard and you see we've got to score 2 tries to get in front of them. It does it psychologically. It really plays on your mind as a player.
What are we thinking of Galvin? He obviously had a license to run the ball.
Yeah, but I think the Melbourne Storm looked at the Roosters game last week. They flooded him with a little bit like Nathan. They flooded him and tried to make him make a lot of decisions in defence. They did it again last night, and they did it with a speed player in Pappy, and Pappy burnt him on that try down that left-hand side. So
again, another bad haircut. Just an observation.
Pappy or Lockie Galvin? Both. Yeah. Shout out to barbers everywhere out there, but
exactly, and shout out to all the board people out there.
Yeah, so they're they're. I think they've really focused on Lockie Galvin defensively more so than shutting him down in attack. Yeah, so. Yeah, there are some arguments out there that this smaller type, more mobile forward pack is now being exposed by bigger, more physical teams. And, yeah, there's some argument to that. But you got to remember, this Bulldogs team, they were in the game all the way till full time.
They were.
When you're in those moments, it comes down to your key players icing it. That's all it is. And when we look at the Panthers, they're the same. Like, they've got some uncharacteristic errors in their game in the last 10 or 15 minutes, which we don't see in the Penrith Panthers. Like, Dylan Edwards 2 weeks in a row.
I've never seen him so butterfingered. And he just doesn't make mistakes, and he's probably made more mistakes in the last 2 games than he has his whole, last 5 seasons.
What about the offside off the
kickoff? A bit of an
kickoff?
exaggeration. Oh, I know.
Penalty off the kickoff.
I know.
I
haven't seen one of them for a while.
I know. Yeah.
And it's fair enough. He was way offside.
Moses Leota this week, and he was the same person when it came to the field goal last week as well.
So the big question for me, Scott Sattler.
With 2 Ds, yep.
With 2 Ds?
You said Scott Sattler. Wade Egan.
Sorry for...
There you go. Thanks, Kel.
Sorry for not having talking with a plum in my mouth.
Yeah.
Can Penrith win the comp from outside the 4? So they're currently in 6th position.
Who have they got home?
So their run after this is Bulldogs, tricky, and Dragons, depends on which Dragons turn up. But the Sharks are on 32 points. They got the bye this weekend, Newcastle Dogs. The Warriors on 32 points, Titans, Eels, Manly. And Penrith on 31, Bulldogs, Dragons.
So they've dropped...
I reckon it's going to be hard for them to sneak into 4th. Really?
Yep.
And if that's the case, can they win it by winning 4 matches Can they win 4 matches in a row?
The Sharks are in the top 4. How did that happen? Based on 4 and against.
Because they're Sharks. Points. They just snuck up. They snuck up into the 4.
Hey, on Sharks, shout out to my good mate Brad Ross, who was attacked by a shark at Cabarita Beach during the week as well. And
I feel terrible.
And I hope he's feeling okay.
How bad was it?
Well, he was sitting on the board, and all of a sudden he got thrown off the board, and the shark bit behind him on the board and bit through the...
Is this the one with the real big bite in it?
Yeah, that was during the week at Cabarita on northern New South Wales.
Kelly Slater was on social media about it.
Yeah, so
he's a mate of yours.
Yeah, he's a really good mate, and he's a proud Kiwi, Christchurch boy. And he watches the show each Saturday. So shout out to you and the family. I know he's rattled after it, and the biggest fear for him was his daughter was in the water before that and was on the beach while it happened, and also the biggest fear for him was trying to swim back in when looking around and seeing the fin out of the water.
I had a mate of mine attacked by a shark on the north coast a few years ago. It's very very frightening.
Yeah. So while we're talking about the Sharks, sorry to digress, but shout out to Brad. So the Sharkies are sitting in fourth. So when you talk about the Panthers and their run home, which is the Bulldogs and the Dragons, the way they're playing at the moment with the uncharacteristic errors and ill discipline, I think Ivan Cleary himself would say we're not playing good enough to win the comp. But all they need is one really good effort to convince everyone that they're back in the race, and they've got the perfect opposition this week, the Bulldogs, to do it against.
That's right.
You know, a top four side, a side where, you know, if you don't turn up, they'll embarrass you. So if they can tidy up a few of those disciplined areas, the Penrith Panthers, I think they'll convince everyone they can still win the comp.
Absolutely. You write them off at your own peril.
Yeah.
But my point is, it's just they're going to have to do it the tough way.
Exactly.
And if they can do it the tough way, then this surely cements their status as the greatest team of the modern era.
So
if not already.
Yeah. If they won 5 grand finals,
the fifth one coming from outside the 4.
Where does it sit when you compare it to the other 4?
Sorry?
Where does it sit with the other 4?
Oh, I don't know. I thought last year's was just as good as the others in many ways, just given how many players they keep losing.
Yeah.
But if they can do, as I said, if they can do it the tough way, then, you know, they're definitely the second best team we've ever seen behind the great St. George teams of the 50s and 60s.
Isn't it the way they've done it as well? Like last year, it's against the might of the Melbourne Storm, who are just, you know, they're used to playing that sort of style of footy in grand finals, and then before that they come from behind. And then before that, they do it against their mortal enemies, the Parramatta Eels. And the first time they win it, they have to come from behind, and it's a big play from Stephen Crichton to do it.
That's right.
It's been an amazing 4 years for them, and still not finished. Let's talk about the milestones coming this weekend. Daly, Cherry Evans and Bent Hunt, 350 games. Some great records, of course. Debuted for Manly in 2011, won a comp in his first year, Daly Cherry Evans, Rookie of the Year as well. Multiple games for Queensland State of Origin. Will go down as an Origin legend and one of Origin's greatest captains as well when he looks at his record. Benny Hunt, 6th player to reach 350 games. Daly Cherry Evans will do it first based on when they play this weekend. Debuted as a star in the Toyota Cup, the under 20s comp in 2008 when they got beaten in that grand final against the Canberra Raiders. They had an absolutely stacked Broncos side. Made his debut the following year in 2009, and you know, he's played again. He's played multiple roles for Origin and the Kangaroos. So when you look at their careers, I want to ask this question. We're sitting in a pub in 10 years' time. So pick a pub. What's your favourite pub? The Robertson Hotel.
Maybe there.
The Robinson Hotel. Shout out to you, the Hindmarsh family. We're sitting in the Robinson Hotel in 10 years' time. And we're having a palmy and a schooner.
Beautiful.
And the name does.
Is it a chicken parmigiano?
Chicken parmy.
Okay, good. Just want to clarify that.
So, and thick beer chips as well.
Gravy.
Yeah. And also some coleslaw.
And cold beer.
Yep. So we're sitting there, and the name Daly Cherry Evans and Bent Hunt just gets brought up, or maybe an old game comes up on TV on Fox League. Their legacy.
What are we saying?
What are we talking about when we talk about these two players? Let's go Bent Hunt first.
I'll think quality player. I will have to think about what happened in the grand final,
which I think was knocked back.
Right.
Yep.
Anyway, really?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
That's a new take.
Mm-hmm.
I'll think of that moment and just how he managed to, you know, overcome that.
Yep.
And, you know, turn into the player that he became. You know, he became a really solid player. I know he couldn't get it done at the Dragons, but for many years there he held that team together.
Yep.
And, you know, I'd love him. I don't know how much longer he's going to play for, but I reckon if the footy gods were smiling down on him, he'd win a comp before he finishes. And he's in a team that can.
Yep, exactly right. I love Benny Hunt. I think he's a really good human. He's an amazing player. When I think of Ben Hunt, I think, you think of the grand final.
But you also think of the great Queensland player.
I think about the resilience he's had to show to come back from it and play a major role in Queensland winning multiple big games as well. When he finishes, do you think he's? Do you look at him more as a halfback or a hooker?
Oh, halfback at club level and hooker at rep level. Okay, so we're in the Robertson Hotel. 10 years time.
Yeah.
First, it's your shout.
Yeah.
What do you think of Cherry Evans?
Okay, so for Lupium, let's get into the deep dive with Daly Cherry Evans because there's all this speculation around, and thanks to our friends at Lupium as well, one of our proud sponsors of the show. There's all this conjecture about where he's going to play next year. I don't think it's a done deal at the Roosters. I think it's always been about let's just in principle see how you're going to go throughout the year. Let's just reconvene halfway through the year again. Let's continue to review how you're going. And they've got a salary cap they've got to look after as well. The NRL have got to register contracts. If they look at your salary cap and you might be over, whatever. I think there's a lot of things at play at the moment. So with Daly Cherry Evans, when I look at him by the time he's retired, I think the first thing I think of is one of the great Queensland captains.
Yep.
I think about what an amazing player he was when he came in his rookie year. The thing I think about is one thing I do say to myself about Daly Cherry Evans, I wish he finished a one-team player.
Yeah,
that's the one thing I do wish.
I love he was a player for Queensland that was and they don't like talking about it, was seemingly on the outer.
Yeah.
And then when all those retirements happened after 17, 18, it became his team. And I always think of what happened in 2020 when he, everyone sort of credits Wayne Bennett for the way that Queensland won that 2020 COVID-affected Origin series, but I think Cherry Evans' captaincy was as much a play as anything.
Yep.
In a really, really tricky series, 3 games in a row, 3 weeks in a row. And the same at Manly, where he, righted the ship after, there was a lot of disappointment from Manly players and Manly fans at the time with how he handled the whole Titans contract negotiations, which he says he doesn't regret. And that's what I find sort of disappointing with this season. He got dropped after the first game, and he of Origin, and it's things have soured with the Manly fans, and we saw it here last week when we talked about Cherry Evans and the whole text line. We talked about Manly, and the whole text line lit up.
Yep.
I've never seen anything like it, and they were blaming DCE for what's gone wrong at Manly this year. So I know I'm interested to see the reception out at Four Pines this afternoon.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't get booed. I don't. I think he's done enough for that club to deserve a bit of respect.
Yeah, I agree. There are people that saying in his time since re-signing that 9 or 10 year deal that they haven't won a comp. They've played in mixed finals as well, and what roles they've played in those finals.
But can you pin that all on?
No, you can't. No, you can't. But it's easy to do that when you're marquee players at the helm.
That's right.
In saying that, when I'm sitting in I'm going to change pubs. I'm going to say the Criterion Hotel, as Jay says, in Rockhampton, while we're eating a mixed grill. Okay. I'm going to say Ben Hunt, what a competitor. What he's had to do to fight back from that 2015 grand final and win the confidence back from the especially the Broncos fans. I think he's done a great job of that. And Daly Cherry Evans, my thing about Daly is great Queensland captain, great Manly player. I think he'll sit in the top 10 Manly players of all time. But based on that also, I wish he was a one-team player. That's what I'm talking about.
I hear.
In 10 years, when we're both old and decrepit. Hey, there's our deep dive for Lupium. Deep dive for Lupium. One app for all your pool care needs. Thanks. That's Lupium as well. So make sure you Google them and look at their website as well. So if you've got a pool, you have some concerns about what's going on with the water, the chemicals, all those sorts of things, Lupium can help you out. We're going to get to a break here on Saturday League Kickoff. We've still got another hour to go, so make sure you stick around, and we're going to get to your texts and also a lot of the games we've got to cover across Saturday and Sunday in round 25. Yeah, welcome back for the second hour of Saturday League Kickoff. Wherever you're watching us and listening to us, whether it's through the entire SEN network, on the SEN app, or whether you're watching us via Fox League and KO, thank you very much. If you only joined us for the first time also, still plenty to talk about. Of course, there's that Thursday night game, which the Bunnies, they held the Dragons scoreless, which they wouldn't be able to say too often. The Bunnies at the late half of 2020, yeah, is it 2020? Yeah, it is 2025. I know, it's been a long season, I get it. But yeah, great work by the Burrow. There was potentially the smallest crowd we've ever seen at an NRL
history.
game at a Accor Stadium. But as we know, the Burrow fans, they'll turn up, as will the Dragons fans most of the time as well. But we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more. And thanks for your text also. 0457 736 736 is the number if you want to send a text. G'day, gents. Great show. I've never held Ben Hunt in a bad light after the 2015 grand final, Michael says. He should never have been in that situation. A dozen other blokes on the field should have tackled JT and or Michael Morgan in that last play of regular time. Michael, you are 100% right as well. And also, Glenn in Rockingham, WA says, love your work, but amazed at your take, Sats. I have just rechecked that drop by Hunt, and there is no show that could ever be called knockback. I disagree. I thought it was knockback. I think we're too quick to call knock-ons.
Oh, well, it's worse now.
Yeah, it is.
Don't you reckon?
Yep.
Like, I don't know what a knock-on is, and I also don't know what a forward pass is.
Peter from Albany Creek, on the other hand, says, hi, Andrew. I agree about that drop by Hunt in the 2015 grand final. Going back, Sam Thaiday picks up the ball standing behind him. He does. Very hard for the ball to go forward, then up and a metre behind the player who drops it. Peter, that's why you're one of our smartest viewers, listeners as well.
You keep talking amongst yourselves. I'm going to Google and watch it. Yeah.
Hey, Zach says, what are your thoughts about Payne Haas switching to Samoa? We're going to talk about that. Tino as well, his decision to align himself with Samoa. We're reading that Keon Kulamatangi, who has played for Tonga, would like to come back and play for Australia if selected as well. And well done to Keon coming back from an injury. Everyone thought that he was going to be out for the rest of the season. Go on, tell me.
You know what?
What?
It's yeah, you're a little bit right.
Thank you.
But his reaction gives it away.
Yeah, but I mean,
his reaction gives it away.
You're right.
He goes straight down on his haunches and crouches down and is almost in tears.
Yep. So it's like the whole reaction to something shouldn't be the litmus test on what the result's going to be.
It's a pity we can't put it up here on the big screen.
I know.
And do a whole Michael Ennis sort of breakdown of it.
Which
I love, by the way.
It's knocked back.
That's a knockback.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
What have we done?
This is what we do.
What have we done in history?
Saturday League kickoff. We change history.
You know, so I've had to go through this a little bit with a book I wrote on Wayne Bennett.
Yep.
And it was really interesting how Wayne never ever said anything to him at all, like as if, you know, he was inconsolable, obviously, Benny Hunt in the dressing room afterwards, but it was like the implication was, mate, we didn't lose that game because of you.
Yep.
You know,
well,
even though it rocked him.
Well, that's what Michael said. Yeah, yes, he drops the ball, but
you can't blame.
There's other players that should have tackled JTs. He just drifted around the field and ended up delivering that ball on to Michael Morgan to set up that try for Cole Feldt.
I covered that game, and I remember sitting in the press box, and I was right behind JT when he's lining up the conversion attempt.
Remember, Jared Sutton told him he had to move it about another 3 or 4 inches.
In the paper that day, I had said, like, our grand final tips, and I said a curling sideline conversion from Jonathan Thurston to win the grand final, and I went bang off the upright.
Yeah.
So I look like a genius, but which I clearly am not.
Hey, in the first hour, if you're only joining us, we had Frank Ponissi from the Melbourne Storm on to talk about their big win last night against the Doggies, and we tried to get Donny Ferner on, but his phone kept dropping out.
He said he might be available if we want to try him.
Okay, and also this coming hour, we're going to do a team in focus like we had the last 4 or 5 weeks. Brisbane Broncos. Now, we've got a lot of Broncos fans that watch and listen to the show through SEN and Fox League as well. So, team in focus started off really well. Went through a period where everyone was calling for Madge's head, and then all of a sudden they've come good again. They've spent the week in Newcastle this week. They did an opposed session against the Maitland Pumpkin Pickers.
Did they really?
Yeah.
I cut my teeth covering the Maitland Pumpkin Pickers.
There you go. Shout out to one of our loyal listeners as well, Craig from Maitland, who calls the show during the week as well. We're going to take your calls, all your text messages, countdown to Saturday footy. Let's get stuck into some of the talking points. Tino's Aussie allegiance. Now, he's pledging his allegiance to the Kangaroos for now, and I actually don't mind this.
Has he said this publicly?
Well, I think so. It's been reported.
It must be true.
It's been... Well, you report things.
Oh, well, don't blame me. I don't report everything.
Okay, so the allegations
until he comes out and say, I will play for Australia this year, we'll believe it.
Okay, well, if the approach is, I'm going to play for Australia in the coming Ashes and then the World Cup, who knows? I love it. I don't mind it. I spoke about this on Sports Day throughout the week, is that Mal Meninga came out with Jimmy Smith on the throwdown a couple of weeks ago and said every Australian player that gets to wear the Kangaroos jersey should give themselves the chance at least once in their career to tour England. It's a tour that you'll never forget. And I think advice like that probably Tino has taken on board. I think it's great that he wants to go on an Ashes tour and experience that as a player. If he wants to go and play for Samoa in the World Cup, I think it's also I think it's a great decision by Tino by building a Samoan team which is going to be an absolute juggernaut in the World Cup. Australia will have enough players, enough quality elite players to fill that second row position or front row position if Tino decides to do that.
Oh, look, I don't think the game can support international football enough. I don't like the chopping and changing.
Well, it's a fair chance they're not allowed to come back.
That's right. I think if they go, that's it. Yep. That's it. Mm. But if that's the case, though, then I think then more internationals for the likes of Samoa and Tonga have to be built in. I liked Michael Carianis's suggestion on NRL 360 this week.
What was that?
It was about a three match series between Tonga and Samoa at the same time as Origin. If you have standalones in which they're talking about in the next broadcast cycle, so then you can just choose.
Okay,
you've got to make a decision.
Okay, so and that'll come down to a monetary figure then, or will it come down to a passion?
Well, that's the thing though, isn't it?
But as a Queenslander, I don't want Tino playing for Samoa.
No, I know you don't.
So I don't want to put players in that position. I think that's a ridiculous idea.
Why?
Because
why should it come down to money? Isn't it about playing for Queensland or playing for your?
No, because it's two completely different allegiances. One's national, one is. So for Tino, and just use him as an example, he's a kid that's born in Orange, but grew up in Gympie his whole life.
Sure.
So he is a proud Queensland junior rugby league.
And what about those that can play for New Zealand? They can't.
So as I've said a number of times, Adam Fanua-Blake, born and bred in Sydney, went through the junior reps. Played all his junior footy in the Australian system. I'm happy for him to play State of Origin, and I'm happy for him to play for New Zealand. But if you've come here as a 11-year-old and start playing junior footy in Australia,
I agree.
You know at 11 or 12 who you want to play for and what jersey you want to wear. But if you come through as a 6 or 7-year-old,
but do you want? I know, but you either want international footy to thrive or not.
But it can still thrive doing what the players like Payne and Tino are doing by going and playing for the country that they've got a strong attachment to. If they've played for the Kangaroos and then they would now want to go play for Samoa, Tonga, whoever it may be, I'm happy for it.
I just think we need to build. If we're going to let those players go and play for those countries, you need to give them matches to play in. You know.
Yeah.
And if there's a standalone Origin series in the middle of the year and less home and away games. In the NRL season, which they desperately need, don't you reckon? They need to cut a month off this NRL season. I know it's great being here every Saturday listening to me and Sats, but I just think it's too long. Yeah, and I don't think there's a real issue with injuries and the toll of the game on players. It can't go as long as it is in the next broadcast deal. But if that's the case, then maybe players will have to take pay cuts.
Josh on the text line said there's been a lot of chat about eligibility for Origin and internationals. Why don't they impose a 3-year lockout from your first international match for a new team? So if you play for Australia, you can't go and play for Samoa or Tonga. We need you for at least 3 years, and then you're free to go.
I'm pretty sure it's a 2-year lockout if you go.
I don't mind that.
If you go to a tier 1, if you're at a tier 1 country, I don't think. It used to be 2 or 3 years before you could go back.
Yep. So Pete in Sale, Victoria, says, gents, Origin is enough. Imagine the clubs discussed at Samoa v Tonga series at the same time. It's a no from me. Also, you're throwing a lot more players into a lot more rugby league at that time of year. So in Origin, you contain the amount of players.
But if you just have standalone Origin, then you're just going to have 3 games of football in the space of 3 weeks.
Yeah, but you've got more players playing for rugby league as opposed to resting players for the back end of the season. So you're throwing more people into the melting pot to suffer fatigue and possible injury at the end of the year.
Well, that's why you have a shorter year.
Yes, I agree.
That's why it's shorter year.
Don't expand the comp. Let's shorten
That's what I mean. Shorten it and then have more international footy and Origin, a big Festivus right in the middle.
A Festivus.
For the rest of us.
Get George Costanza involved.
Frank Costanza.
Yep. News that's coming out of, News Corp. News Corp reporting this yesterday that David Fifita looks like he may have been granted permission to chat to rival clubs by the Gold Coast
May
Titans.
have been or has.
Well, I don't know. It's been reported.
Well, again, must be right.
That Fifita's granted permission to chat to rival clubs, most notably Wayne Bennett. And Wayne has said publicly, he has said that, if we get permission, I'd love to be able to talk to him. I gave him his debut when he first came out of school as an 18-year-old, and I think I can get the best out of him. And I think it's all about timing. He's 25 at the moment, turns 26 in February. On average, players, when they get to the age of 26, that's when that's when they get their career better than most.
He seems like the problem child that Wayne could fix. Maybe.
He's not a problem child.
What do you mean?
Well, he's had a third ankle surgery.
I get it.
He's not a problem child. I just feel as though that at this stage of his life and his career, he needs to be challenged more. And a lot of people probably think Wayne doesn't challenge people. Wayne challenges players probably more than most coaches in completely different ways. It's about their lifestyle. It's about the way they look at their rugby league. It's the way they live their life away from the game. It's about the way they treat other people and their teammates.
Okay, I won't call him a problem child. He's a conundrum.
A conundrum?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, do you think we've seen the best of David Fifita in years?
No, we haven't. We haven't.
I know he's got an ankle injury, but it's hard to work out whether it's an ankle injury or an attitude problem or a fallout with the coach but whatever. It's hasn't been great the last 2 years.
No. Well, no, it hasn't. It hasn't. So this is why sometimes he probably needs to get out of that comfort zone and see whether he can get some direction. Yeah. Anyway, we've got Sean from Penrith on the open line, 1300 01 1170. How are you, Sean?
Great, mate. Yourself?
I'm going very well. How's your weekend started out?
Mate, fantastic. Rabbits won, Penrith lost, Dogs lost. It's like Christmas. It's great.
So what do you got for us?
Too good.
Mate, David Fifita, like you mentioned, that he might be a problem child. I don't know that's the case. He was fantastic for the first few years. And 2 years, like recently, he's been off the stage, like injury and whatnot. But I think if he can go to South, Bennett can definitely fix it. But my problem is, how do we fit him into our cat at the moment? Like the dog scenario hasn't worked. Obviously, that money might free up something, but that's got to stay there too, doesn't it? I don't know how it works. Yeah,
so what would happen, Sean, is that if he was to go to another club and whatever money he's on, if the club that he's currently at, and Braden has said, he's contracted for 2026, so the ball's in David's court, and it is, he can stay at the Gold Coast and say, I'm not going to go anywhere, and back himself next year, Sean, or an agreement would be made between the club that a player would possibly go to and his host club at the moment. So just say he's on $500,000 for argument's sake, and the club that he's at the moment, the Gold Coast Titans, could say, well, we'll pay $100,000 of it. You got to pick up the other $400 for 2026. And then whatever you contract to him after that all comes off your cap.
I think it's more than that. He's on $950.
Yeah. I was just using that as an example. So that's how it works, Sean. So the club has got to be able to look at their salary cap and say, whatever the other club is willing to put in, if we can handle the rest of it for 2026 and moving forward, well, we could, yes or no, we'll take him on. Yeah.
It's funny, I just typed his name into Google and a story came up. Panthers hero tip for roller Titans as David Fifita poised to move to Sydney. Who's that Panthers hero?
How am I getting involved in David Fifita?
So you've got you would know.
I don't know anything. What are you talking about?
We'll discuss this one after the break.
I am a fan of Dave. But Shaylee Bent.
So am I. When I say problem child, I just mean he's been tricky to deal with the last couple of years.
I just think we want to see him on the field because when he's at his devastating best, he's one of the most.
I'm down.
He's like
with
a Villiamy
I'm with you.
kicker. I love watching him play.
I'm with you, but it hasn't gone great at the Titans.
His partner Shaylee Bent is contracted till 26 as well in the NRLW team for the Gold Coast Titans. So there's a lot more at play when it comes to Dave.
Might be a package deal.
Wouldn't be bad for a club. Actually, Souths don't have a team in the NRLW, but as well. Hey, thanks, Sean. Hope that answers your question as well. Rabbitohs 40 defeated the Dragons zip. Let's quickly get this through. I know you don't want to talk about this too much.
Yeah, move on.
Yep. 7 tries to 0. This is Wayne Bennett post-game after that win.
Just that they stayed at it. They didn't go up by 20 points and then give a couple of tries away. They kept doing their jobs and turning up and competing really well, so that was the best part. It's just that it's grown a hell of a lot. There were a lot of young boys in that team and haven't played a lot of NRL, and we've had to stay with them because we had nobody else with the injuries we had, and they've rewarded us enormously with their confidence and their effort.
Yeah, that's probably the most impressive part and he touched on that. You get to 20-0 and you just don't put the cue on the rack and think, let's think about next week. I don't want to get injured. I want to finish off the season without any injuries. They were able to extend that lead as well. That try by Tyrone Munro, outstanding. Just the hop step on Clint Gutherson, acknowledges the Burrow as well. That was outstanding. It was disappointing for the Dragons. This Ashton Ward, he's impressive. Like, he is Luke Keary 2.0, isn't he? Same build, plays exactly the same, courageous in defence.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's been a rap on him for a while.
Coming off contract at the end of the year as well.
Yeah, I can't see them letting him go. The Dragons just look like they've been up for too long.
Yep.
Whether they had a win or a loss, they
lost 3 key forwards.
And they lost those 3 key forwards last week. They've had other on top of other injuries, and from a Dragons point of view, you don't never want to see your team lose by that margin.
Yeah.
Or not get on the board, but I'm sort of zoned out. I've zoned out. The year's over.
Cody Walker off the bench, second week in a row.
Let the off-season trauma begin.
I'm looking at Kat, one of our little staff, she's a mad Rabbitohs supporter. She's just bouncing around all day today.
Loves them.
Yeah, so
she's bouncing around like an actual rabbit.
Yeah. Buck teeth like a rabbit as well. She has big ears. She's got big ears as well. Oh. But Cody Walker, second week coming off the bench, coming back from injury.
Is that his role?
Well, it's easy to say yes, but the game lit up when he came on the field. There was a little bit dour early on because of the conditions and whatever it may be, and 2 teams that aren't playing finals. But as soon as he came on, he lit the game up.
He did.
Yeah.
He still got those old legs. Still go okay.
So if you look at that again, we'll look at that back line at full strength. You go Jai Arrow. You go Jai Gray. You got Tyrone Munro, Alex Johnston, commentators, not Johnson. Okay.
When did you become the
Johnston
pronunciation police?
Then you've got Latrell and Campbell Graham. You got Jack White at 6.
So that's what it sounds like.
Cody, your 7. Or is he coming off the bench? He's got to be a 7.
He's of an age.
He's got to be at 7.
He does.
Yep.
But are you going to get more out of him body-wise?
Well,
if you restrict his...
If you're leading, you just take him off.
I like it.
Put him in the stable.
And are we going to make Jai Gray the fullback and Latrell the left centre?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
100%.
it. It sounds like that's what's going to happen from now on at South.
Well, if they don't, they lose him.
They do.
Yeah, they'll lose Jai.
Yeah, they're at that point of... Latrell's at that point of his career where he's probably best at left centre.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Where the involvement's... Yeah, it's quality as opposed to the quantity as well. Now, we've got a lot of text to get here. Surely Ricky Stewart has to be Coach of the Year. All the best guys. David Cleal, I think it is. I think hands down he'll be the Coach of the Year without a date. Hey, have your say. 1300 01 1170 is the open call number. Like Sean did from Penrith, give us a call, and we've got plenty more coming up. We're going to talk about the games that are coming up over Saturday, but most importantly, the team in focus, the Brisbane Broncos for 2025. Welcome back to the show. Saturday League kickoff, and the games across Saturday are about to kick off very soon. The NRLW about to kick off also at 12:45, the first round of this weekend. And well, we know the Broncos and the Roosters are going pretty well in the NRLW. Newcastle as well were travelling well, but at the moment they're the 2 teams to beat, the Broncos and the Roosters. And we're going to talk about the Brisbane Broncos as our team in focus very soon. But before we do that, 1300 01 1170 is our open line number. And Michael from the Blue Mountains, everyone west today. Sean, now it's Michael. How are you, Michael?
Yeah, good, mate. Just calling up in regards to the Dragons. And unfortunately, the other night, the game didn't go our way. But I'm just calling, fellow Dragons fans, at what point is enough enough? We're missing out on semi-finals by 1 or 2 points. We just got to keep doing it. What's going wrong? Since the merger, we've had, obviously 2010 was great, but since the merger, it's just gone downhill, like McGregor and stuff like that. We've got Flanagan, he's a great coach, but what do we need?
Well, what do you think you need as a fan? I think you need one real marquee player in a key position that can. Well, they're the difference between winning and losing. When you get into those games when you're losing by 2 or 4, Michael, your marquee players are the ones that get you home, Webby.
Michael, as a fellow Dragons supporter, I can feel the pain in your voice. I know it well. I think Flano's trying to unwind. A lot of the dysfunction and the roster mistakes that were made, under Hook and it's a bit hard to blame Mary now, but he's a year and a half into his tenure. I'm as frustrated as any Dragons fan about him, about where they're at. I think you're right. I think they need Sats. I reckon they need 2 marquee players. Obviously, they're after a half, but they're hard to get. I think we're tougher. I think we're playing tougher football, but it's and I think I agree with extending him. I think they need a bit of stability because too many of the Dragons coaches in the last 2 were coaching for the next win to keep their job instead of just having to try and sustain it. But I think they've got so many good juniors. The big thing for me, Michael, they got all those great juniors coming through, is that we need to keep them. Yeah, and that's the future, but that requires a bit of patience and time. But that was hard to watch the other night.
I think they need also, Michael. I think they need a front row. Like, they've got some good stock in the front row, some good young stock. They need a front row of representative sort of ilk. Someone who's been around a while, who's sort of 27, has got probably 150 games under their belt, and has played representative rugby league, who's big and mobile, and they're hard to get. Your Tino's got a text here saying they should throw the bank at Tino. Like a Tino or Payne or Adam Fanil, they need that style of front row to create that really good platform, because on the back of that you've got Dylan Egan, Hamish Stewart, you've got all these young players, the Couchman brothers.
That's right.
These really good young players that are coming through as well. So I agree with Webby and Michael. You can hear the disappointment in your voice, but I actually think you're heading in a really good in a good position in the next coming years. One thing that Shane Flanagan does really well is that he does a great job with young players, and they're introduced into first grade, and he's very good at recruiting. Yeah. I think I'll tentatively say we're heading in the right direction, but I've seen us going in the right direction before, and it hasn't happened. What you want, Michael, and Dragons fans, is you want to be heading on the upward scale as opposed to plateauing out and starting to head down. They're definitely heading in the right direction. So I don't think it's all doom and gloom. Well, it is after 40-0 shellacking. But in saying that, I think you're heading in the right direction. Now, Darcy and Bathurst on the text line says, guys, with the strong resurgence of NRL in country areas, Mudgee, Bathurst, NRL sellouts, is it time to bring back City v Country Origin?
Yes.
We'd love it. It'll never happen, but I just keep saying it's too many games as well.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
Reports this week that you might be going to the Titans. Thoughts?
Is this something we usually talk about in the break?
No,
it's not true at all. There are reports.
There's been reports. David Riccio has been hammering it.
I know he has. God bless Dave Riccio, but it is a club.
Are you going to the Titans to save that club?
No, because...
Are you the saviour?
No, because I love the club. I love the region.
And you used to be there when they started up.
General manager, yeah. Well, my dad started the club in 88, and then I made my debut there in 92.
And you live on the Gold Coast?
I live on the Gold Coast.
You're a Gold Coast legend.
I just love the club. I love the region, and I've always said all along, and I've got a really good relationship with the Frizzels, and I've said all along that if ever they want my advice, if any time they want to talk about the club unofficially, I'm happy. I'm happy to do that purely from an outsider that's in the rugby league landscape. Now, I did go to a breakfast last Friday that was held at the facility where the Titans are.
Oh, and you were spotted.
I was at a breakfast, like a business breakfast with my wife. And there was a player agent that was meeting with the Titans about some players. So I'm thinking that's where it may have started from. I'm not quite sure.
The old
so
whispers.
There you go. This is how you get your stories. Now, the Brisbane Broncos.
What's your price tag? $1
million?
I heard you don't get out of bed for $1 million.
Well, it's about
less
that.
than $1 million.
Shout out to you, Matty Johns. Team in focus, Brisbane Broncos.
$1 million, come on.
Now, Madge's first year as coach. How do we assess his team and the way that it's been coached to date? I'm saying B-.
Who? Madge.
Broncos, Madge. They're sort of there, but they're not there yet. But they're going okay.
I'll say a B.
It's going to B?
You know what? You can't make a judgment yet.
No.
Really?
Sitting 7th currently before this round finishes.
they've gone into camp in the Steel City of Newcastle.
Yep.
There's a lot of fun to be had in Newcastle.
Yeah, in the modern age also, you've got to be wary about taking players into camp for
But they used to do it all the time.
I know, but we got the players now are far more intuitive and far more emotional. And when you've got young families, got young kids, and they take them away, sometimes,
Why do you think players are more emotional?
Oh, they're more emotional.
Great emotional depth.
Yeah, absolutely. So see how it plays out playing against the Knights. Yeah.
As opposed to the soulless men that used to play the game in your era.
Lundy goes, you could hire Rat as your PA 2 days a week. That's all he works. 2 days a week, Rat. But I like where the Broncos are heading, Broncos fans. What are your thoughts? Now, he defended Reese's erratic style of play a couple of weeks ago, and he showed last week how important he is to the side when they got injuries. One thing they have got, the Broncos, they've got a lot of depth. They lose Cobbo, Mam, Reynolds. They bring in Mariner, Karapani, Benny Hunt to 7, Corey Pakes to hooker, Tyson Smoothie, Billy Walters the 5'8". So they're one club through a number of injuries to key players. They've got depth to fulfil it.
It's funny, so Michael Maguire is in his first year, and that's was always going to be a big cultural shock for a lot of those players because that's just the sort of coach that Michael Maguire is. Even though he says he's mellowed a little bit, I find that
he ain't mellowed.
But that's Madge. You know what you're getting with him. So it's going to be a big shock to a lot of those players at the Broncos. And when that didn't, when they were losing there earlier in the season, it's like, well, Michael Maguire, he's the wrong man for the job.
Yep.
Less than half a season into his first season at the Broncos, they start winning. It's like he's exactly what the Broncos need. We need to. It's an unfinished painting.
Yeah, you're right.
It's a half, sort of like a third of it's been painted.
Yeah, they've showed a lot of character this year as well. They've been behind in games and come back to win against some quality opposition. They drew a line in the sand early in the year with Marty Taupa'u, who liked a social media post which was critical of Michael Maguire. So basically they drew a line in the sand and said, you're either here or you're not. We're all heading in the right one direction. If you're not, well, you need to go find another club.
Don't like photos.
Don't like photos. And we're trying to tell a kid that these days on social media.
Do you know sometimes you accidentally bump and like things? Have you done that?
No, I haven't. You can unlike it.
If you're stalking someone on the but it still comes up as
stalking's probably not the word to use, but anyway. But you can unlike it, You can unlike it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you forget.
So
sometimes you don't know.
I like it. I like that he's made the decisions based on where he wants the club to be able to head. They're a powerhouse. They're the biggest club in the competition when it comes to their membership base, their home crowds, the viewing numbers. They're the biggest club in the competition when it comes to the commercial dollars that get written. So, if you want to stay at the top in all those, what they call silos in the competition, you need a guy that's willing to fight for it. That's what Michael Maguire is. So I like the way they're heading.
I agree.
Yep.
Yeah, I just like if they don't win it this year, it's hardly the end of the world. And Michael Maguire's not a bad coach. He's just into his first year of a. It's not a rebuild, is it? Because it's a roster that doesn't need to be rebuilt.
The Broncos don't rebuild.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they don't rebuild.
They don't.
Yeah.
So they're like Melbourne. But just give him time.
Yep.
We're too quick to pull the trigger on coaches in this game.
We are. So the Broncos playing the Newcastle Knights this weekend. We've got a text here about the Newcastle Knights salary cap. Is it working? Well, it wasn't working for a long time. This is Marcus in Newcastle because it was an absolute mess, and that's why Peter Parr was brought in to clean it up. Now, to clean up an NRL salary cap, if it is a mess, it can sometimes take 3 years.
Oh, 100%.
Move players on. Sign players for sort of minimum wage, identifying that player that's going to give you a lot of service and be durable for less money.
Look at Canterbury.
Yeah.
Canterbury, when Phil Gould got there, their cap was a mess, And if you get it wrong, and Penrith were the same when Gus went there, it takes, it can take 5 to 10 years to turn it around.
Yeah.
And that's why I think what they've done at Canterbury is so good because he's managed to turn that roster around so quickly, Gus. And it takes a really strong head of football like him, or a Ponissi or whoever, or Matt Cameron at Penrith to turn things around.
Yep. Whilst playing smart footy as well, his electric footy and finding the balance is key. I think we saw that last week. Eddie says, exactly right. He played a really controlled game last night. We're starting to see that a little bit more. So we thumbs up for the Bronx at the moment.
We're thumbs up.
We're thumbs up. So currently, before we get to the break, they are sitting in 7th position before results this weekend. They're on 30 points. Well, I reckon you probably got to get to 34 to cement yourself a position based on for and against. And I think they'll do that as well, the Brisbane Broncos. So up next, we're going to preview today's games and take more of your calls on 1300 01 1170. Oh, I don't enjoy it when I get put in uncomfortable positions, as my friends are starting to text me right now.
The saviour of the Titans.
Also, people are
That's what he's been saying off air. I'm going to save the Titans.
Just look at the camera up here. People are talking to me about my polo shirt. My daughter just texted me and said, why are you rocking the polo shirt for? Well,
you should wear a dark black shirt.
Well,
it's thinning.
What I do is I left a shirt in here last week, a button shirt like I wear every week. It's gone. So I should have
someone's flogged your
shirt. I should have done
shirt.
that. And I'm pointing at you, one Joel Kane.
I don't think Joel would fit into one of your shirts.
Oh, wow.
No, sorry.
Wow.
Sorry, Sugar.
Okay. Hey, this is Saturday League Kickoff, of course, thanks to Wing House. Best seats and beers, always guaranteed. And Eufy have come on board as well, as we spoke about last week. Save time and effort with your E15 robot lawn mower. So, are you going to get one?
Oh, yeah.
Because you said you want to mow the lawn, but...
I love mowing the lawn.
Yeah, but I think
I don't know if I need a ride.
This is the way forward.
What, a robot mower?
Yeah. This is like we once had a typewriter, and now we've got
a computer.
This is like once you used to mow the lawn, now you've got something else to do it easier.
Gotcha.
That's you. So if you want to give us a call, 1300 01 1170 as well. Can I also talk about what gets under my goat is the people who can't pronounce Alex Johnston's name right.
God, you're a pronunciation.
Yeah, so the other thing that really annoys me, is that when you wake up in the morning, like I do, and I look at my phone...
You wake up in the morning, do you?
Yeah, I wake up in the morning, and I look at my phone to see what the degrees is. So when I go out for a walk, do I put on warm clothes? And it says 10 degrees, but it feels like 7. Don't tell me how I feel.
I thought you were going to drop the F-bomb there.
I was about to. Don't tell me how I feel.
Yeah, Apple.
Exactly.
iPhone. You're not the boss of us.
Yeah.
We'll tell you how we feel.
Exactly. Thank you to Wing House and also Eufy. Thank you very much for your support of Saturday League Kickoff. Now, SEN League coverage from 2 p.m. today, and it's the 3 p.m. kickoff at 4 Pines Park, Brookie, for this milestone match for DCE. 350 games. Hope the weather stays fine, and I hope a big crowd turn out to celebrate one of your great players. Now, it's 10th versus 9th. Dolphins in search of playing finals footy, as are the Manly Seagulls. We have a text here. What are your thoughts on the Dolphins as well? Dolphins have been, I think, really good this year. They've been
brave.
Yeah, really good on the back of a lot of key injuries to their forwards as well. And Jake Averillo has started to play that little bit of he's just plugging every hole, Jake Averillo. He's been amazing. And Cody Nikorima came back at the right time a couple of weeks ago. So I really like the way the Dolphins have played this year. Will they make the finals? Well, they need to win the next 2 games and to see what works out for them. See what other results turn their way. Because I'd love to see Isaiah Katoa in the finals. I'd love to see if he's got that next level in him at finals footy, which you need to find as well.
I think they'll win today.
Ruben Garrick out. Jake Trbojevic remains out. Looks like he'll miss the remainder of the season. If that's the reports are right with that HIA a couple of weeks ago. Like it? Don't like it?
What's that?
Jake Trbojevic possibly being out for the rest of the season?
No, I don't. I don't like it. No, but I get it. If he's concussed, he's concussed.
If he passes the protocols.
I was saying I like the Dolphins today.
Yeah.
To win.
You like the Dolphins to win?
I do. I just think, and that's no disrespect to Manly, but they get Kafusi, Molo back. They're two big ins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think they're going to have enough. They're just going to have a little bit too much there at Brookvale.
You are right, Azza. It is versus, not verse.
Who says verse?
Oh, I said verse just before.
See, you're into everyone about pronunciation. Dolphins,
because Gary Belcham, a good mate, Badge, shout out to Badge, who's sitting at home at Casarina watching. He used to always tip me about that. Versus.
It's versus.
I know.
It drives me
I get it.
It
you
drives
told
me
spare. And so is Azza.
Azza?
Yeah.
Can we give Azza pillow.
And AJ says, great work, boys. Watching while on my work at lunch break. Up the Mighty Eels tonight. AJ, we're going to talk about that really soon as well. Hamiso Tabuai-Fido, 7 tries in the last 5 games. Tolu Kola, 8-game try-scoring streak at 4 Pines as well. So gamble responsibly as well if you're going to have a bet on the game. Felice Kaufusi, Francis Molo back from suspension. So you're saying Dolphins?
I think the Dolphins just in a ding-dong Brookvale battle.
Yeah, I'm thinking Seagulls just.
You just had to go someone different to me, didn't you?
I'm a romantic when it comes to rugby.
You are a romantic.
I am, and I want DCE to, finish off the season in that Manly jersey on a bit of a high, as well. Also, Titans v Warriors, 5:30, Seabus Super Stadium, as well. So Brian Kelly, Jojo Fifita, back for the Gold Coast. Now, what about the Titans? They've won 6 of their last 7 games against the Warriors.
This could be one team will win this like 34-32.
Yep.
I reckon there'll be a lot of points. Even though I've been loving watching the Titans.
Well,
something happens every time you watch them.
They're a team that can score a lot of points.
There's some madness.
Yep. Madness is the good way to put it.
I love a bit of madness in my rugby
young
league.
Jalen de Groot. I like the way the young fullback winger plays. He reminds me of a young Gutho. He just loves to get involved in everything. The back three didn't have the 2 wingers didn't have happy games last week when it comes to high kicks against the Cronulla Sharks. They were beaten comprehensively. But the Warriors welcome back Kurt Catewell, Tamade Martin, Rocco Berry, Chancellor Klukstar as well returns to fullback. So getting some key players back. The key player out of that is Kurt Catewell. I think he's that conduit between the rest of the side that just gives them a bit of a steady head as well.
Who are you tipping?
I'm tipping the Warriors. I'm tipping the Warriors. I just think they've got so much to play for.
That's not going to help you.
You're an idiot. I think the Warriors have got too much to play for. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
There's been too many. A lot of people have been quick to discount the Warriors, and obviously after losing Metcalf, but they still hold their own.
Talk about depth. They got really good depth as well around the halves as well. So Jaden Campbell scored 5 tries in 6 games against the Warriors as well. So if you're looking for a bit of a multi, gamble responsibly. That's a good tip there as well. So the crowd-wise, expecting a near capacity crowd at Seabus Super Stadium.
Is that because there's a lot of Kiwis on the Gold Coast?
Lots of Kiwis. I'm married to one, so she'll be going.
Really?
Yeah. So a lot of Kiwis going to the game. For more reports, meeting at locations around some of the watering holes around Seabus Super Stadium. They've been doing this. The Warriors have been doing this really well in Australia. Wherever they're playing, their membership team sends an email saying, "Hey, listen, call to arms. Let's all get to this one location," and they just march the streets. They all walk towards the stadium.
Brilliant.
They did it at the Broncos a few weeks ago down Caxton Street. They just owned Caxton Street one afternoon. So, I'll get off the plane this afternoon, head to Seabus to watch that game. And the Warriors, like we're saying, got plenty to play for, because if they win this game, and we look at the ladder on the back of the Panthers being beaten last night, the Warriors sitting on 32, as are the Sharks on for and against. They'll go above the Sharks into 34 points. Now, they'll go above the Sharks until Sharkies got the bye this week. I'm thinking they've taken the bye into account already.
They do.
Yeah, so there you go.
It is.
And one of our listeners alluded to that earlier on. So thank you very much. So they'll jump above the Sharkies into 4th spot, and the Sharkies will sit above the Panthers in 5th spot at the end of this round if it plays out that way as well. And the third game, as AJ just said earlier on, the Eels up against the Roosters, 7:35 at Combank Stadium. Roosters look to extend their winning streak. Isaiah Yongi named at fullback, Joash Papali at 5'8", Dylan Walker at lock. Dylan Walker's been a really good signing for the Parramatta Eels this year.
Absolutely. People have been a bit critical of Parramatta this week.
Well, you're looking at the record of last year,
and
the record of last year and the record of this year pretty much sits the same. Okay, they've won the same amount of games, but I just
can't look at it like that.
No, I agree. I just think look at the upside of some of the players that are coming through. It's also the way you lose, funnily enough, whether you get lapped or whether you're still in the match.
That's right.
And we're talking about that when we talk about the Dragons, and I think the Parramatta Eels are in that sort of predicament as well. I think when they've been losing games, I think they've still challenged the opposition.
I reckon we've become a lot like American sport
and
American fans.
You reckon?
Why?
No, I mean that sarcastically.
Yeah, well, because it's like, well, if they lose one week, get rid of the coach. If they win the next, they're going to win the comp. It's like just patience.
Yep. So
Chill.
this time last year, the Parramatta Eels had conceded 650 points, okay, with the same amount of wins at the same time. This year in 2025, they've conceded, well, over 100 less points.
Well, that's a good sign.
So it's a good sign. It means defensively that, of course, it goes without saying the Eels are in a lot better position defensively under Jason Rolls than what they were last year. So I think as an Eels fan, you should be happy with that. They're making some inroads. So Zach Lomax, 7 tries in the last 7 games. Eels have won only 1 from 10 against top 8 opposition this season. And you'd expect that also from where they're sitting on the ladder. But this Roosters side,
look all right.
they're flying.
Are we just going to hand Teddy the Daly M now?
No.
Why not?
I think Isaiah Katoa. I think they're going to go neck all the way through.
Oh, that's.
I know even games they're losing, I still think he'd still be getting points.
What a pity you can't bet on Daly M's anymore.
Yeah, I know. But this Roosters side, I love what they did last week. I love that they were playing a really physical side. So what they did is they started Spencer Leniu to rip into them as well. This Roosters side, I think, among other teams, out of all the teams that could potentially play in the top 8, I think this is one side that a lot of the top 8 sides, or the bottom 8 sides, would be fearing about playing against. Just their star power. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's funny, like a few months ago, that was the team that rival clubs would say to me that they feared, the Roosters, just because they got so many quality players and know what to do with this time of year.
Their forward pack, Nafahu White, I think the most improved front rower in the competition, when his coaching team were asking anyone to step up and step into the place of Jared Hargraves. Nafahu White's done a great job at taking himself to the next level when it comes to front rows. Connor Watson at hooker, State of Origin player. Lindsay Collins, State of Origin player. Angus Crichton, State of Origin player. Siwa Wong, very good young back rower. Victor Radley, international. It's a fair forward pack, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, it is. So, looking forward to this match to round out our round 25 on a Saturday night. And then on Sunday, we've got the Knights v the Broncos. SEN League coverage starts from just before 2 p.m, about 1:58 before kickoff. McDonald Jones Stadium, and the West Tigers up against the Cowboys at 4:05. Leichhardt Oval. Let's fingers crossed for fine weather. Great celebration of their 20-year anniversary of their 2005 grand final. Been seeing a lot of social media and a couple of podcasts John Skandalis has been hosting, talking to some of the players back from 2005, and it was an absolute the way they played that year, that 2005 year, it revolutionised the game with the openness they played with.
It did. One of the great grand final victories.
It did. Let's get to the break here on Saturday League Kickoff, and we're going to wrap up the show on the other side. Well, that's it for another Saturday League Kickoff show. Thank you for listening through the SEN Network and also on Fox League as well. And thank you very much to our good friends at Wing House, where the best seats and beers are always guaranteed, and Eufy as well. Save time and effort with an E15 robot lawn mower. So make sure you get down and get on the website. Look at the robot lawn mower, which I can't wait to go to your property one day when you're using your lawn mower and sitting back having a beer.
Watching the mower.
It's very therapeutic as well. Hey, we love getting your text messages, 0457 736 736. Come on, Sats. The weather report says it feels like a particular temp, Guildford Mick says. Yeah, but who says it feels like a lower temperature? Like, they might be different to me. Don't tell me how to feel. Hey, guys, can you please...
You're very angry about this, aren't you?
Guys, can you please give a big shout out to my mate Shane? He's a huge Tigers fan, watches your show every Saturday. Much appreciated. G'day, Shane. Hope you enjoy your Tigers tomorrow in their game against the Cows as well. Hey, lads, everyone wrote my mighty Broncos off a couple of weeks ago, but I think we have the cattle to give the premiership a real shake with a bit of luck. Big dog in Brisbane. I think you're right. If you get Adam Reynolds back for his kicking game, I think you're every chance. Ezra's going to be a big loss with his support play. Can they win the comp? Zach says, the Bronx. Well, they're going to have to come from a long way back. It's going to be difficult, but they're heading in the right direction. I must admit, cutting the comp to 19 games and having 3 standalone weekend with Samoa versus Tonga on the Friday and Origin Saturday had me licking my lips. Maybe have some kind of reserve grade event in and amongst it as well. NRLW, we could start that around it as well. I'm hearing DC is going to play Japanese rugby to finish out his career. I just said to you during the break, for me, it's too obvious if they announce he goes to the Roosters. And DC is anything but obvious when it comes to his career. He holds everything under a tight vault.
Nick Politis would be happy if he reneged.
Can you get Nick on
if he's reneged?
Talk about it, please?
No, I can't get Nick on the phone. I can't get Nick on a show.
Greg from the Gold Coast, a Broncos supporter, but how about the Walker brothers for the Titans? It's a no-brainer. I think the Walker brothers definitely have a place in rugby league, and I think they'll be future head coaches at NRL level, without a doubt.
Do you think?
I think they will. I think if they're active in the market and they're coaching, I think they get a seat at the table.
Why hasn't anyone snapped them up earlier?
I just think they know how to coach. They know how to. They run really good businesses. They know how to man manage. They know how to do all of that.
Clubs are very conservative.
But rugby league, you're right.
They are. They want to be a leap of faith.
They'll look at the cycle, whether we agree with it or not. They'll look at the cycle and say, where are they coaching? What are they doing? How are their results?
It's a little bit like Checker. Yep. You know, Michael Checker's pushing really hard, the former Wallabies coach, for an NRL gig somewhere. But does a CEO want to be the CEO? If it doesn't work, they've got the rugby union coaching.
He'd be a really good assistant to the head coach.
I don't think he'd want to be an assistant.
Well, that's a problem right there. That you're not willing to do it. You're not willing to listen and get help.
He did a little bit under Trent Robertson.
Got to continue to do it. Just can't expect it as well. Hey, thanks for all your texts. Tyne, I was about to say, hey guys, I have a bad feeling at Manly's outlook over the next few seasons is looking bleak.
That's the spirit.
Tynan, I don't think so. I think it's looking up. They've got a lot of really good young players through Jamal Fogarty as well. Hey, thank you very much, Frank Ponissi, for coming on, giving your time as well. Thank you very much to Donny Ferner for trying to come on the show. Great victories of both those teams. Big Saturday and Sunday of rugby league. And if you're SEN listeners, stick around because myself and Webby, we're going to stick around for crunch time. So have a great weekend, everyone.